got the causally back together, and it seems to be working okay. I think that's WDIA out of Memphis.
The question for the start. Medical malpractice.
No, maybe that's WDIA.
Everything's doing just fine.
Well, good. Appreciate you calling.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now that we have that one taken care of, let's move on to the fifth radio out of the pile. Next on the agenda is this sad-looking Philco from the early 50s. I don't think we're going to just plug this one in just yet. I'll take chances on a little power cord ratification, but not when it gets this bad. Here's the chassis, and as you can see, it's in rather sad shape with a good bit of rust and dirt, and the speaker is shot. Also, the dial string that operates the pointer is broken, but at least this dial, still works. I can at least tune the set, because I have no earthly intentions of restringing this thing. It's rather sad because this is one of Philco's better radios. It has a 3-gain capacitor, which means it has a tuned RF stage for the front end, so if this set was working at peak performance, it would be a decent performing set, but we'll have a little fun with it anyway. Here's the underside of the chassis. The first thing I'll do is eliminate the rotten power cord. Second thing I'll do is cut this bumble bomb across the line capacitor out of the circuit. I'm surprised it's not blown in half. Most of these usually are by now. But I don't want it blowing in half on me, because they have a tendency to send capacitor guts flying everywhere, so don't need that happening with me standing over it. Okay, we're plugged up. I've confirmed the power switch is good, so here we go. Well, we have stinkification and excess current draw. Even at very low line voltage, we're drawing an excessive amount of current. Let's see what the problem is. Well, now evidently a tube filament is opened, because I'm getting nothing. And I'm going to have to make a decision on this radio. The speaker is obviously shot. I mean, there's no way that's going to produce any kind of decent audio. And as crusty as this overall set is, and knowing that we're probably going to have to replace at least one tube, and the cost of tubes being what they are today, I'd rather reserve my tube stash for something that's actually worth repairing. So I think this is one that's going to get returned unrepaired, and he can put it on the shelf and sell it for $5. And this little Philco here is pretty much the same story as this one. This is the radio that was a victim of crash and bash, where somebody glued and masking taped the cabinet back together. I actually had this one working for a couple of minutes, and then one of the tubes blew in it. And seeing as how the chassis and speaker is in similar condition to this set, I had to make a decision not to repair this one either. So the vendor that owns these radios will get 4 back that work somewhat okay, and he'll get these 2 back non-working. I'm sure he'll put them in his booth and try to sell them as a decorative piece, although I can't imagine anybody buying these, even for decoration, unless they're trying to decorate a slum somewhere to make it look correct. Now, these 2 radios just illustrate that, there are some radios out there, as bad as we try to save these things, that are not worth repairing. And you have to take into consideration that these 2 radios are still common finds. They're not that hard to come by if you look hard enough. And it would cost more money to properly restore these radios than it would for you to search out a couple of decent looking restorable examples that are not rust buckets on the inside. So generally, members of the restoration community will use sets like this for parts to fix up other sets that are worthy. And like I said with this radio, as expensive as some tubes are getting to be, I just can't see wasting tubes on junk myself. You know, I just can't see doing that. So I think, given the condition that all of these sets were in, and if you missed the other videos, you can, you know, go back and watch them later. You know, they're the last 4 videos on my page. But considering the condition that all of these sets were in, I'd say that we were lucky that we were able to get 4 out of the 6 of them in reasonable operating condition. We'll say one thing about this Philco: the dial scale is in good shape, so you know, if somebody had a radio that needed a dial scale, you know, this would come in handy for them. I actually think, and I could be wrong, but I think I have a cabinet, a decent cabinet for one of these. The chassis got hammered by a lightning strike, or at least that's what the evidence looked like. So if I wind up with this radio, I might actually try to repair the chassis and put it in my cabinet, if I even still have the other cabinet. Now, there's still a chance that I might have gotten rid of that cabinet, but who knows. But like I said, neither one of these radios are that uncommon. If I decide I just have to have a couple of these, it shouldn't take too much effort to find a couple of restorable examples. Okay, that pretty much takes care of the stuff that belongs to the flea market vendor. I should be seeing him Wednesday and pass all this junk back to him, and then we'll see what else we can come up with.